All right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with my man, Ryan Cafaro. Ryan, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, man, no worries at all, man. And Ryan, man, talk to us a bit more about that performance you just had, that big win, and maybe your future.
Man, I don't know where to begin. Just I guess I would say like this was the first time in 19 pro fights that I really feel like I did myself justice in terms of I know what I'm capable of in sparring, and feel like I've never really truly shown like all of it together. Like I've shown technique in fights, I've shown heart in fights, but I've never been able to, like, if I had one, I was missing the other or something like that, or paralysis via over analysis. And I feel like tonight there was no hesitation. I just let everything fly, and I just fought free, and I fought violently and aggressively, and it just culminated in the best performance of my career, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And another thing I was curious about as well, too, man. I mean, in that fight, I mean, you started landing those nasty elbows. I mean, do you think that was a big turning point for the fight?
100%. I land those in sparring all the time, and I don't cut anyone because I wear elbow pads and headgear, and I have a lot of control when I actually do it. So to actually let them go full force, I had watched a lot of tape on Ricardo Fuentes, and I noticed that he's a bit of an anomaly when it comes to striking in MMA, because if you look at the majority of people in MMA when they fight, and in particular during exchanges, the average MMA fighter will disengage and move back several feet when you come to initiate with strikes. And Fuentes is a brave individual, because when people move forward to throw combinations with him, he plants and he throws hard and fast. Um, so I thought that I could use that to my advantage, because when I had watched tape on him, he is what I would describe as a 2 point specialist. He's a specialist in jiu-jitsu and a specialist in boxing. But I thought I had the advantage in kicks, and I definitely had the advantage when it came to clinch fighting and elbows. So when we started having exchanges in the fight, I thought that if he planted and threw punches and we both threw at the same time, I could meet him and beat him to the punch with an elbow. And then you saw me attempting it in the first round, and then I really landed it in the second, and that's where I caught him. Dan Mergliotta said I caught him 3 times with 3 separate elbows.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, no, like I said, it was definitely nasty because I was there watching it live. Now, when you land those elbows and you start pointing at them, I mean, what's kind of going through your head, like emotion wise, when you kind of land that elbow and you're pointing at him, looking at him, and you see the blood kind of pouring out?
Uh, I'll be honest. Like, I was pointing because I was like, maybe the ref will stop it and I don't have to fight anymore, and I win.
Oh, there you go.
um, but like, the commentary team was saying it was a very like Dustin Poirier style thing. I would say it was more of like a tribute to Liam Harrison, the Muay Thai fighter, because if you watch his Thai fights, a lot of the times he would cut people and then run and point, because a lot of times he would stop the fight right then and there with the elbow strikes that would cause these massive gashes. And so that was kind of like my tribute to the UK legend Liam Harrison right there.
I
So
like it. No,
yeah.
that's definitely a legend, and yeah, I'm definitely glad you got to have a little tribute to him. Now, obviously, after your big win, you had a call out after your fight. I mean, do you think that's maybe next for you in the future here?
Um, if I'm gonna fight regionally again, I think that would be the fight. I think me versus Anthony Delemy for the title is the only real option for me that makes sense. CFFC takes very good care of me financially compared to other regional promotions. This last fight in particular, I mean, like in combination with bonuses and ticket sales and sponsors and things like that, was the best I have ever done in my entire career from a money standpoint. The fight before that, I made $900, and I had to buy an Airbnb and fly one of my coaches out to coach me. So I ended up paying money to fight. So
Wow.
it's been such a crazy 180 between my last fight, where I had a no contest and was so frustrated because it was a fight where I feel like I was performing a lot like the Fuentes fight, arguably better. I was doing even better in that fight, and then I poked my opponent in the eye and ruined my opportunity there. So it was like such a frustrating low. And before that, I had lost a fight by split decision. So I was in this, like, I feel like me winning the Fuentes fight was kind of like my pent up rage being unleashed for like 3 fights worth, which is probably the reason why I went absolutely feral when I won the fight and just lost my fucking mind. Pardon my French. But yeah.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. Like I said, it was definitely an awesome performance, and I'm definitely glad you were able to come out on top. And now another thing I was curious about as well too. What's maybe kind of your goals right now that you have right now in MMA?
So my goal has always been to get to the UFC. Um, at this point, I would be okay with going to PFL or one championship, assuming that I was compensated appropriately. If I continue to fight, it has to be uh, coming from a place where I can financially support my family. Like I said in my post fight interview, I have a child now, and he's my everything. And everything I do now, I was fighting for me before, and now I would be fighting for the financial stability of my family and my child. So if I do move forward, I would fight maybe like I would prefer to go UFC PFL one championship, whichever honestly at this point, whichever one paid me more. Um, unless it was UFC, which even if they paid me a little less, I'd probably still be like, okay, I'm going to the UFC. Um, and then, like I said, outside of that, if it's either Anthony Delemy or bust, like I'm not interested in any other fights regionally. Like if you offer me another regional fight, don't even bother because unless you are really willing to break out a paycheck that doesn't make sense for your promotion, that makes more sense for me. You know what I mean? Like if you want me to fight regionally, that's a passion project for you guys, and God bless. So
Fair enough. No, that definitely makes sense, and I definitely think that's a super high level fight, and I hope that does get booked in the future. Now, you mentioned no other regional fights in the future other than that one, but CFFC obviously also has a grappling promotion. If they maybe offered you for that, would you maybe want to do some grappling in the future?
oh, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do that in a heartbeat, and or even if they brought back CFFC Muay Thai, I would do that. So I do have one. I have to take one pro boxing fight because that will complete my combat sports trifecta. I have 2 pro Muay Thai fights. At this point I have 19 pro MMA fights, and then if I get 1 pro boxing fight, now I've done every striking sport there is. So
Wow. Yeah. No,
that
that's incredible.
yeah. So and I mean, like, I coach amateur boxers. I've coached pro boxers before. My business partner Alex Barbosa, we run TKO Fitness together in Cherry Hill. I've coached him for I believe 2 or 3 of his pro boxing fights. So I definitely feel like I am more than capable of being a good boxing coach as well, but I would like to walk the walk as well.
Very nice. No, that would definitely be interesting for sure. Now you're mentioning boxing. I mean, would you maybe do bare knuckle or just pure
Fuck no.
box?
No. Absolutely not. No.
Right.
You would have to pay me enough money where I could pay my house off to do a bare knuckle fight. And even then, I'm like, oh, dude. Like, dude, I went to my first bare knuckle fight ever with Eddie Alvarez. I was cornering him for that fight. It was the most brutal fucking thing I have ever seen in my life. Every single fighter, aside from John Garbarino, who I coached as well, left there with either a broken face or a broken hand. There was almost no one on that card that came out completely unscathed. It was the most brutal, violent thing. And like I said, like, if that's your retirement plan, is to just mangle your face and hands, it's like, you better be done after that. So like I said, I would need enough money that it would be really, really financially worth it, where like I would have to set myself up in a position where it's like I don't have to work anymore, basically.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely hear you when it comes to BKFC.
Although one caveat would be I would take one for less money if it meant I could secure a commentary job for BKFC.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you could guarantee me that I would be, in a long-term contract as a commentator for BKFC, then I would consider a bare knuckle fight. That would be my only other caveat.
I like it. No, I definitely think that would be pretty cool to have you on commentary for BKFC. So is that maybe your plan for maybe CFFC in the future too? Maybe try to do commentary for them too?
I would love to, because if you actually go back and watch some of the prior events, I did commentary for I was an interviewer for back when this is a very old thing to say, but back when before Blonde Fighter was in the UFC. So I actually did like a cage side interview with her. I wasn't like on the official commentary booth. And then after that, I did such a good job that they then asked me to do commentary. So I did one in Atlantic City, and then I did one in Philadelphia as well. And I thought I did great, and everybody was, really happy with it. And then that guy, fucking CM Punk, stole my job.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like and I had a good momentum going. Like I also got asked to do Shogun fights in Maryland. So they paid to bring me down there. So I was like, all right, we're getting the ball rolling. And then, once CFFC got picked up by Fight Pass, that was kind of the end of that. Cause and I'm not faulting CM Punk or anything. Like I totally understand. They do what they have to do to order, like, to bring in the what are they called? Fairweather fans, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
some people just want to hear CM Punk talk, which it's like, huge wrestling fans. I get it. I don't blame them for bringing in who they bring in for commentary, but I know I am a excellent analyst when it comes to combat sports, be it boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, maybe not as much jiu-jitsu, but you know what I mean? Like I don't understand the massive intricacies of like honey holds and whatever goes on in like competitive jiu-jitsu scene, because it's like so high level now that it's like you basically have to be like a different kind of human being and able to contort yourself in ways that level of jiu-jitsu, I'm like, no, I'm just cool throwing a gilly.
Yeah, no, like I said, no, I definitely agree. Everybody that mentions jujitsu, I always say you have to be super smart to kind of compete in it because there's so many different things that you have to do with jujitsu nowadays. And now you mentioned with CM Punk. I mean, were you even a wrestling fan, growing up or anything like that as a kid?
So my extent of pro wrestling fandom was I really liked a wrestler named Kidman because he wore jeans.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got. I was like, all right, everyone's like, I like Sting, I like Hulk Hogan. I was like, what about the guy with jeans? I like Kidman. And that was basically it. And then my introduction to I met CM Punk actually in Milwaukee because I was there training Paul Felder for
Nice.
his fights when he was training under Duke Rufus at Rufus Sport. And CM Punk was there getting ready for his UFC debut. So we actually got to spar. So that was fun. And then we became friends after that.
Nice. So
Yeah.
how was that having to spar CM Punk?
Oh, it was good. I kicked him in the face. And oh
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
But
Yeah,
like, I wasn't a dick about it. It was
but
just,
yeah.
we're trying to get better. So, he threw some good stuff. He actually cracked me with some good shit too. So it was fun to be like, and you know, that helped me garner a lot of respect for CM Punk in particular because he didn't want to go the easy route. He wanted to train for real, and he put in work alongside all the pro fighters there and all the AMI fighters. He was putting in just as much work as everybody. It was just the difference is that the UFC offered him a lot of money to do it, which I don't blame him for. Everyone's like, "Oh, he skipped the line." It's like, dude, if you got offered to skip the line and got paid enough money to buy like 3 houses in New Jersey, I'd be like, yeah, I'm skipping the fucking line. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I do respect CM Punk for at least trying to train and everything. No
oh
doubt
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So,
no, yeah, I'm definitely glad you got to spar him. That's definitely pretty cool as well too, man. And another thing I was curious about as well too. I mean, for this upcoming fight, I mean, who were you kind of training with? Who are maybe some of the best training partners, made you the best version of you for this upcoming fight?
so I got So in the past couple of like I would say like the past year or so, my jujitsu coach has been Tyler McBride. If you know the New Jersey wrestling and jujitsu scene, Tyler McBride is an absolute grappling phenom under Ricardo Almeida. He's a Ricardo Almeida jiu-jitsu black belt. He's one of the few wrestlers from Camden Catholic High School who garnered over 100 wins from that storied program. Um, and he has really helped evolve my jiu-jitsu game because he's one of the guys in the room that has been running training for years and nobody knows about him. So like when Ricardo was, coaching in Florida or if he's, training in Brazil, Frankie Edgar would be like, "Hey Tyler, you're running practice today." And Tyler was like, "What?" And then all of a sudden Tyler's the head jiu-jitsu guy running all the MMA stuff for us cuz his grappling style he has he's developed his jiu-jitsu style in a room full of guys like Frankie Edgar, Marlon Moraes, Edson Barboza, all the Dagestani Russians that came through, like Zabit, Timur Valiev, etc. So he has such a great style and a great mind for jiu-jitsu designed for MMA in particular. So shout out to my jiu-jitsu coach, Tyler. My main sparring partner slash cornerman, Billy Markle, he's actually fighting, I think he's fighting next week. He fights on Friday, I believe, for I think it's called for Dead Serious at the iPlay Arena in New Jersey, which I'm going to be returning the favor and cornering him at. We go to war in the gym. Like we bite down on our mouth guards and we swing for the fences. And he was such a good mimic of my opponent because Billy has phenomenal boxing and he's got good wrestling as well and very solid jiu-jitsu. So he was he has been my main sparring partner for well over a year now, and we put in a lot of work. And then my main head coach slash cornerman, Malik Kamara. If you notice in Bill Algio's fight, there's always this fucking jacked black guy in his corner who like is always in shape. He looks like he's ready to fight George St. Pierre on a week's notice. That's Malik Kamara, and he's kind of like the underground secret weapon of like Jersey and PA MMA scene. He's a guy that behind the scenes, he came up in like the old school Datus era. If you know do you know anything about Datus MMA?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a history lesson for you.
Okay.
With all of the MMA fighters in the tri-state area, the majority of them came up from an MMA gym in PA and Philadelphia called Datus MMA. If you look at a lot of gyms now, the fighters that came from Datus MMA have all opened gyms. Places like my former Muay Thai coach, Aaron Meisner, runs Royal Striking in Philadelphia. Jackson Bear Galka in Philadelphia as well runs North Star MMA Muay Thai. The gym Beacon MMA, where Luke the chef trains out of, is run by Bob Peach, who was a Datus guy. So like, if you look at all of these major gyms in the tri-state area that are successful, it all stems from one gym called Datus MMA. And my coach, Malik Kamara, runs Delco MMA. And I met him when we worked together at a UFC gym, which was an LA Boxing back in the day, which is a very old thing to say. But he's taken me under his wing back then. And even though he only fought amateur, he's such a diligent student to the game. If you've trained with him in the room, he's like the black GSP. Like, he's incredible. And he's the most disciplined human being I know. He's always in shape and always working hard. And he's always inspired me to be great and has always taken time out of his training schedule and of his, life as an entrepreneur and a coach and a businessman to take time for me. And we have such a good relationship together. He's been cornering me since maybe my third amateur fight. So he's coached me for almost 30 fights now.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's really cool that like the people that I train with and that I work with are the people that have helped me come up from the very beginning. And then I've got like my main sparring partners for this camp were like, so when I fought for the Art of War title, I beat a kid named Matt Turnbull, White Chocolate. And he is actually one of my main sparring partners now. And we fought each other tooth and nail in that fight. And it was awesome because when I lost the Art of War title, because I was fucking sick on fight week, and I'm not going to get into it, but it was my worst performance. He ended up fighting the guy that beat me for the title, and I helped him prepare to win the Art of War title. So it was cool that we kind of like traded places. So now he's the current Art of War champion after losing to me for the title initially, and then beat the guy that beat me for the title. So I helped him prepare for that fight, and then he returned the favor for this fight. And I mean, that guy is so underrated for his skill and talent in the gym. And he's finally starting to, I feel like we're both peaking at the same time, showing what we're actually capable of in the ring compared to what we do in the gym.
Yeah, no, Matthew Turnbull is definitely another guy I've heard of as well too. He's definitely a beast. And another thing I was curious about as well too. Obviously you mentioned it before the interview, and also as well too after your post-fight win. You're a father now. What's maybe some of your favorite memories as a father right now?
Man, my son's first laugh. He's only laughed like twice, and I missed one of them. But the first time he ever laughed, my wife caught it on tape, and I was just making a little noise at him, and he just did like a ha ha ha, and we were like, oh my God, I actually scared the shit out of him because I was like, oh, he laughed. And then he was staring at me like, what did I do? What did I do? So maybe I scared him from laughing since, but honestly, it's like every morning I wake up and he has the biggest smile on his face. He's the happiest kid I've ever seen. And he's actually crying his ass off right now.
Yeah, I hear him.
Yeah, but he's just he's one of the happiest babies and one of the nicest things. He's just such a blessing in my life, and I'm really, really lucky to have him and have my wife who, my wife took care of him through every part of this camp. And, we are such a good team together. I could not there was no way I was making it through this camp without my wife and her support and everything she did for me to help let me focus on training. Like I slept in a different room and she was okay with it. And I know a lot of women wouldn't be okay with that. And she's just she's just the anchor of support that I needed to be successful in this fight. And I mean, and with my son in my corner mentally, it was like there was no way I was losing this fight.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome, man, and I'm definitely glad that you have some good memories already. And another thing I was curious about is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been teaching for about 6 years now, and I got a bunch of guys in my gym. What advice do you give them to keep on coming into the gym to get better and better every class?
So I would just say, like, if you feel stagnant, you need to change things. It's like, and honestly, it's like, as an instructor, sometimes I have to be okay letting students and fighters go. I'm not saying that I want people to leave my gym, but like, there's some people that just don't mesh with your style. And if you have to move somewhere else to find what's comfortable for you, then that's what you have to do. But also, as somebody, like, a lot of us as instructors and as coaches, we have a very, very large pool and wealth of knowledge that we can provide. And if you feel like you know more than your coach, then you're not going to be very coachable. And I mean, like, I know things. I've been in the sport now since 2009 as a competitor, but I was training before that and wrestling in high school. And I've been obsessed with the sport for almost 2 decades now. And one of the biggest things is being the guys that are coachable are the guys that are still around. I have no problem with someone telling me or critiquing me on my style. And I've had 7-year-old girls watch me fight and be like, he needs to keep his hands up. And I've been like, I mean, shit, if a 7-year-old girl can see that my hands are down too much, I should probably put my fucking hands up. You know what I mean? Not,
Right.
who does this girl think she is? I'd beat her up. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. So being coachable is definitely the best aspect of a fighter, and in my opinion, the best predictor of being successful. Not how athletic you are, not how strong or how fast you are, because I have seen so many incredible athletes through my time, and guys that would beat the brakes off me, and then they wouldn't put it together when time came, or they became lazy, or they thought their shit didn't stink, and then it catches up to you and it bites you in the ass when it matters the most.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. I definitely think that's a solid message, no doubt about it. And speaking of messages, man, I mean, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
For everyone watching this video and for everyone that has supported me throughout my career, I cannot thank you enough. From the sponsors to the friends to the family to the people that even wanted to see me lose, who bought tickets, who tuned in. I appreciate everybody involved. And especially the sponsors for this fight in particular, like Jenny's Goodies, Worldwide Insurance Property Adjusters, who else? I mean, a lot of people. Like, I have a list of them. South Jersey Sports and Acupuncture. I wouldn't have made it to the fight without Todd Fluck and the work he did on my body. Freedom Chiropractic with Dr. Devin Coughlin and the work he did on my body as well, because I put myself through a very, very rigorous training regimen. My home base, TKO Cherry Hill, Eddie Alvarez and the Underground Kings Gym for providing me a space to spar. Nick May, I've been a part of their gym for a long time. Frankie Egger and the Iron Army. I train everywhere, and it's like we would have to have a whole nother podcast of me just thanking everybody involved in what made this possible. And that's why I feel like MMA, while being a lone man sport, is the ultimate team sport, because it takes a village for people to get to the finish line. And I sprinted through that damn finish line this time with the help of everyone.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you sprinted through the finish line, my man, and you definitely had an awesome fight and a great performance, no doubt about it. And I'm looking forward to what's next. And thank you again for taking the time. It means a lot to me, my man.
Yeah, Kev, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the interview.